Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Secrets in Medical Device Sales, brought to you by the girls of Grit. And today we have a special spotlight series that we are both so excited about, you guys, because I think y'all are going to learn a lot from this special lady today. And she has already written so many amazing things on LinkedIn and has really pulled at some heartstrings of my own and Cindy's. And so today, you guys are going to learn a little bit from her. So welcome to the Secrets of Medical Device Sales podcast, Kirsten Haight. We are so happy to have you on.
Thank you.
Yay, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Lisa's right. I think that when people post things to other coworkers out there, it's kind of like you have a coworker that you haven't even met yet that feels what you feel, knows what you're going through. And to have that support, it's a silent support, but it's really strong. And we really wanted to thank you and recognize you for really being a voice to what we all experience. So we really want to thank you. And we're so excited to have you, Kirsten. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate both of you reaching out to me and just through LinkedIn, able to connect. I know we've chatted about that before, just how incredible the community is, where we get to reach people that we would never meet in our everyday lives. And I just really appreciate you guys taking the initiative to reach out to me and explain how some of my posts have resonated with you. So thank you for your time.
Yeah. And we're so lucky, actually, like you just said, we're so lucky to have a platform like LinkedIn to really not feel alone sometimes, because I'll tell you what, and I'm going to tell you guys how I found Kirsten, but there's a lot of times, and especially in medical devices, when you feel alone and you feel like nobody else is out there, nobody else understands the struggle that you're going through, nobody else sees it. But the truth is we do see it. And that's why Cindy and I created this podcast, honestly, is so that we can let all of you guys know you're not alone. And oh, by the way, we went through the same things you guys did and we still go through it. And so on that note, the way that I found Kirsten, you guys, was through a post that I'm going to have her read to you now, because I think it'll hit all of you a little differently. I will tell you that when I read this post, I was just telling Kirsten before we started recording, I was coming home from a probably 24-hour day. I had worked all day. I had stayed in that town for my son's basketball tournament that night, received an emergent call from one of my doctors, had to turn all the way around after the basketball tournament was over, take my son home, get products that I needed, turn back around, drive 2 more hours back down to where I just was, by the way, and do the case. And I was exhausted. I was tired. I was crying. I was like, this isn't fair. Why does this have to happen this way? Why can't it work normal, right? Why can't this just be I don't know. I was already there. Why couldn't I just have stayed there? Why did I have to, all the things that you get hit with. And sometimes when you're really overwhelmed, you just feel super down about it, even though it's great because you're getting cases. And I read Kirsten's message on LinkedIn the very next day, and I'm going to let you read it, Kirsten, because this really hit home.
I would love to. So this was a post about 2 months ago, and the label was to the exhausted rep. Another day, another early morning, another add-on case, another dropped screw, another missed shipment, another late delivery, another missing part. Days where you ache for another hour of sleep, but sleep isn't even restful when you're on call or anxious about waking up late for that case an hour and a half away. Mornings where you rush to a case without breakfast or a coffee, only to find it starts late, spiraling the remainder of your day with its dreaded domino effect. Late, late, and more late. Afternoons that I feel like it's already 8 p.m. and still don't know an end to your workday in sight, that rescheduled lunch because you were too busy finding out where that lost tray is. Did you even eat today? Evenings where you've lost all sense of time, your body feels heavy and yet simultaneously floating because of your delirium. More coffee? Probably not at this hour, right? Your rep scrubs read void because you've been between cases for the last 6 hours, room to room, bouncing back and forth to make sure docs have what they need. Weeks where you feel like you have no grip on life, where you're spinning your wheels and when does it slow down kicks in. Missed calls from friends, missed birthday dinners, missed workouts, weeks where they feel so long you're starving for Saturday to read across your phone calendar. Weeks that fly by so fast you didn't even catch a moment for yourself. We see you, your hard work, your long days, your long weeks, your efforts, your disciplines. You are giving this job all you have, and it isn't for nothing. But don't lose yourself. Don't lose yourself to this life. Don't sacrifice your health and your friendships and your beloved family time for this. Take a moment to breathe. Take a moment to be still. Say yes to what matters and no to what doesn't serve you. You got this. We're proud of you, and we are all here to cheer you on. Sincerely, a fellow rep.
I'm gonna like cry. It was
I
so
love
good.
that. It's so much support and so much encouragement in your simple words. When you wrote that, had you just had a really busy day, busy week?
It was a week. It was a week where I've used this in a post, actually. I think it was maybe after I posted this one, where I felt like Gumby, like I'm just being stretched so thin that I realize, okay, I have all these other priorities in my life that are really, and they're not even in the back seat, they're in the trunk of my car because I can't grasp what the next hour is going to look like because changes were thrown my way where you're just like, you're here, but you need to be there and you need to be in 5 different places. And there are days where this job is so, I just love it. I love what I do. It's patient focused. We know that we're helping people. But then there's other days where I'm like, but I am completely sacrificing everything about my own self for this. And those are the overwhelming days. And that week, I just felt not only was I having to be in the OR more than I'm used to now, it's not even just being in the OR. I was having to be in the OR in Austin and in Dallas and in Houston. And I know in Texas I can drive to all those places, but that's hours in the car.
Yeah.
And it's like getting there on time, 6 a.m. case or 6 to 7 a.m. cases the next day, but making sure product's there and you don't know if product's there because you're not physically there yet. So I think it's just that week was so overwhelming, but I just kept telling myself, okay, I was kind of made for this job. I know that I'm high energy. I kind of can compartmentalize really well. And so I understand that everyone has their max, and I felt just maxed out. But I also knew that over time, what really kind of got under my skin a little bit was how people would just talk up our career as this glamorous, we make a bunch of money, and why are we complaining about what we do? Because it's not an easy job per se, but they just have this idea because they're not in it. And I wanted to highlight all the ins and outs of this job that people really don't maybe recognize that aren't in this industry, but then also importantly, obviously reach out to the people who may not be vocalizing that, but really feel the same way. Because sometimes it's hard to put our thoughts and emotions into words. And I think that this one just obviously hit home for people. And I had just really been feeling it that week. And I have plenty of weeks like that. I mean, the last couple of weeks have been that way because I haven't really been home. So I just have to keep that mentality of I'm capable of doing this. I am good enough to do this. I am meant to do this. And this too shall pass. And I just kind of tell myself that on repeat all the time. So
Yeah. Wow,
Yeah.
she sounds just like us, Cindy.
Yeah.
I know. You have a fabulous way of building yourself up. And, I couldn't help but smile when you commented about, where people have this, when they're not inside a job, looking outside may look like one thing. And I mean, I think many people are guilty of that, probably in lots of different instances.
Yes.
But I think that I like how you pointed out what they don't see. There's many sales jobs and there's many busy jobs where, you work late or you have to do more. I think something that is very unique to a medical device rep that's out in the field and running around, and clinical for that matter, is the 24-hour call, the drop and go. And there is something built within us that we know there's a patient on the table that we have to go help.
Yes.
And that sense of urgency is built within us that not everybody understands.
Exactly. And I mean, physicians, the respect I have for them is like on a whole, different level, and even with nurses. But it is something to say that because we don't just cover one physician, we're on call for a bunch of different things. Where physicians might only have a couple of days or certain days of the week they're on call and they know that. We just kind of always have to be on our toes all the time. And we have lives too. I mean, you all have kids and sporting events. And I mean, for me, it's just like trying to just have a life outside of my job, and just knowing that it's important to me to be there for the physician and the patient. And that's just a priority. And so that's kind of the sacrifice that we make. It is so, like, to me, it was so important that I actually got a lot of response from people not in our industry that were just thankful for kind of highlighting some of what we go through because they have had some false ideas of what we deal with. It kind of gives an insight too to just medical in general.
Wow,
Like
that's really interesting. Yeah.
a lot of people don't. I think they have some interesting ideas of physicians in their lives. And I think that especially recently, LinkedIn's just exposed a lot of the truth about like how hard physicians work and kind of not the glamorous side of it, right? And so this was a way for people to see outside of our industry just what really goes into like the grit that goes into our job and the discipline. And honestly, why we have to bail on stuff.
Yeah.
I know that it gets so annoying. I'm that friend that kind of has to give up a lot of really cool opportunities and last minute changes. I've had to cancel so many trips that I've been a part of because I just couldn't go. And it's not about being flaky. It's not about being just maybe having a one-upping opportunity to go do something more fun. It's not about that. It's the way that we've prioritized our job and how we are valued and we're needed. So,
right. And I think that's part of it. We do accept part of that. And if it's not the friends, it's the children. I mean, there are many, many times when I have to tell my kids, I literally just had to do it this past Saturday where I was supposed to go to a horse thing with my daughter and I had to call her and I was in tears and I'm like, honey, I can't make it. I've got to go to work. And she's like, it's okay, mommy. Why are you so upset? It's okay. It's not your fault. And I'm like, but honey, I really want to be there. And she's like, but it's okay. She's like, it's not the first time and it's not going to be the last time. And she's 11. But I will tell you on the flip side of things, there's also amazing opportunities that this job has not only provided to me, but I think also what we are teaching those around us, not just children, but anybody that looks up to you. And I can guarantee, Kirsten, that you have a bunch of people that look up to you. And I think with that, I really wanted to kind of open that up and let's talk about you. Let's talk about your background. You started a company. I mean, holy crap. Hello, you're super young, beautiful, energetic, and you went out and started your own company. So medical devices.
Medical device. Yeah.
Tell us about this.
My business partner, Channing Morvant, she's incredible. I've had the privilege of working with her through a couple different seasons and phases of our lives, pre-medical sales for me. I think each opportunity that I've been given has really been Channing pulling me into the next opportunity because she found something in me that she just thought was, okay, she's got this, I need this. The both of us together can do something great. So when we first met, and this is a little background, I was working in waste management sales. So I used to sell.
Wow, wait, that's crazy.
Okay, that doesn't sound fun. First, what on earth is that?
Second, I would take that for waste any day.
I know. I went from, selling trash services to selling medical devices. So
to hear more about that. Wait, like how did that even happen? And are you like, did I take this job? I don't know.
I don't know. And you know what the funniest part about it, that because I worked with her at this job during COVID. So during COVID, she also was working, I think her primary job was in medical sales, but just during that time, we were kind of taking all these other things that we could do, right? Because we needed the income and there was no guarantee with whatever we were working in at the time. And so she had inquired with me about helping to distribute some masks for just like random purposes and random needs. And so I had some connections in California that they were trying to extend out there business wise. After she left the trash world, I was still in the trash world for a little while. And she's kept telling me, I'd get these phone calls from her. She's like, girl, I need you to come on my team. Like, I need you to be part of my team. Will you interview with our partners? Will you? And so eventually I did. And I'm telling you, it took 6 months. Like it took me a while. And
that's not a long, wait a minute. That's not a long while. It took me 2 years to get a medical device.
But I'm saying it took me 6 months to just agree to an interview. Which I'm learning right now, guys, like because of how intense this industry is and how many people just want to break into it. I think this side of me giggles now when I think about my interview process because I left the interview with a job offer and I said, I'll think about it. Like,
wow.
I didn't know.
Hey, that's you. No, that's
you. And I thought, okay, I don't know if I'm going to be in Houston for much longer. I think I was just telling myself, like, I don't really know if like this is for me. And then Channing's like, no, come on, come on. Like, this is going to be great. So when I worked at my last company, Texas Ortho Solutions, which they were great for me, obviously, they allowed me to enter into this industry with very little experience, if any, in the medical side. She and I became a team there. And so then when she left, she had her third baby, she wasn't going to come back. And then she decided to reach out to me again. And she's like, let's do this thing. So I thought, it took me a little while to jump fully on board because I still had, I think, an obligation and I felt a duty towards Texas Ortho. So it was a little longer jump, but I was still helping her build in that time. I was still at the other company. And honestly, it's been such an incredible experience because we've gotten to really focus on women empowerment. And I know we talked about this a little bit where our focus was really on building a team that is supporting each other no matter the circumstance. Because when you're working with a distributor or kind of, in corporate, wherever you are in medical sales, it does feel like a one-man show because you're a little competitive with each other, whether it's quotas or whatever. It's just, there's some competition. And we just wanted to create an environment where it's incentivizing to help your teammate. And also because we're so pro working mom, that we understand that moms, they've got to drop really important cases when there's an emergency at home, or there's other priorities in their life that do take precedence over the job. And so instead of like taking money away from that situation, we have like a team that's willing to step in and everybody gets paid. It's all just kind of a nice environment. And everybody is just, all of our team members have just been so receptive to that and they love to help each other. And so I think we started with all women and we've just hired 2 men. So we're not exclusive, but we just love the fact that our team is just so, our focus is just elevating women in this space because it does feel sometimes like it's overrun with men and that's totally fine, but we're just creating a completely different environment. So it's been fantastic.
I love that. What do you think, Cindy?
Me
I mean,
too.
that's like amazing,
Absolutely.
right?
I mean, well, you know what? Let's just back up for a second. Before you ever really even started your career, you already had that support because your friend sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Very encouraging.
Really. Mm-hmm.
And to have that wingman with you to really go and just say, hey, we can do this.
Yes.
So clearly
She's the
the
best
both
hype
of
girl.
you. Oh,
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think all women need hype girls. If they take anything
Yes.
from this podcast, find your hype girl because literally anything is possible once you.
I love that. She's so right. I mean, I'm really impressed, Kirsten. You're still quite young. You're in your early 30s, and Cindy and I are a little older than that. It's interesting. And I was going to ask you, how did you create such a positive environment for all women to thrive? And I think one of the things you just said was they're not competitive with one another, but still, women can be pretty competitive.
Yeah.
How do you guys keep that from happening? And I'm sure a little bit of it happens. There's nothing wrong with a little friendly competition, but Cindy and I talk about this not uncommonly about women that like to tear each other down, right?
Yes.
Rather than build each other up. And so why don't you talk to us a little bit about how you've done that? And I think that that's really important just because so many of us out there do face these situations with our colleagues, with other coworkers that are women, where they do try and backstab you. They will try and take you down. And I don't know. I mean, I would love to learn kind of what you guys have done.
Yeah. And I think just even outside of this job, but in general, I think the tearing down just exposes some insecurities that it may not even come from the job, just somewhere else, right? It's kind of when I feel that towards someone, it's almost more incentivizing for me to kind of dive deeper into like who they are and just maybe want to try to not befriend them per se, but kind of kill them with kindness and confidence. But I think a big one, because we're so fortunate to have a young team, very green team. And I recently talked about hiring the Gen Z generation and just the kind of value that they can bring, but vice versa, just how we can teach them. And one of the biggest things is competitiveness is great. I mean, as athletes, that's just part of kind of our nature. We are competitive, but bringing that into the medical sales world, I have no problem with that. But with each other, I'm trying to instill this confidence in the girls and worth, because it's very easy for us to get thrown into a job right out of school or wherever, just a new industry. And there's already an intimidation factor because you're the new one. It's like being, the freshman fish, like you're the youngest one. There's some intimidation factor. But I think that when we focus on the value that they bring and just kind of really harping on confidence. I knew what kind of coach I needed growing up, and I'll bring the sports into this for a second. The more that I had someone telling me what I did wrong, it brought me down. Even if I was doing it wrong, like if I needed some adjusting, I needed a coach that was more, hey, this wasn't the best, but the next one's going to be great. So it was just kind of this reinforcement that, yeah, you didn't do it awesome. Like it wasn't the best you, but you're going to do great the next time. And it's just this confidence that it definitely validates the fact that it wasn't like their best move. And there's learning to come from that. And that's what I want. I want the failures or the losses or just these maybe not so hot moments to be the growth and the learning, and not like where we dwell and just kind of fester in this. And I think teaching them that pretty early is what I'm hoping will avoid where they're running into competition, and instead of feeding into it and hearing what other people are saying, that they're just above that. And they're like, it's okay. It's fine. I mean, they can have that opinion. It's cool.
Wise beyond your years, my dear.
Wow. I know you have really built a safe space for women and quite a culture. You're so right. We grow and grow every day and we learn so much, and that nobody's perfect. And it's good to hear what's going well, but then also not in what you did wrong, but just like, hey, how can we do it better next time?
Yes.
I mean, the simple way you phrase things and have a positive spin is a fabulous perspective to have, and to build a culture to support women to do very, very well in medical device sales. And to go out on your own and start your own company and build a positive culture is extremely commendable. And you are doing something right.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. It's really nice. The whole concept of like retaining your employees, right? It's just like checking in with them. What are we doing that's great? What can we do better as managers, as leaders, as mentors? Because if we're not doing that for them, then we're not even growing, right? Because I just talked about not wanting to be the smartest person in the room. I can learn just as much from them as they can from me. And it may just be in a different way. They're learning from me clinically, education wise, sales wise, but like, how can I learn from them about how to be a better manager and leader? Because that's the direction I'm going. So it's just important to have communication with my team. And we obviously don't want turnover, and that benefits everybody. So as long as we can keep the environment as happy and positive as possible, I mean, that's just what Channing and I have really been striving for. So.
Wow. Well, I mean, we can go on and on because this has been an awesome time with you, Kirsten. One of the things that we do love to ask our guests on our podcast is, do you have any special books or maybe what you're reading right now, some of the things that really keep you moving to that next level in terms of leadership, mentorship, or just personal development? Tell us about maybe one or two of the books that you're reading right now.
So the first one that stands out to me, because I just finished it not too long ago, is Let Them by Mel Robbins. And I know you guys will probably, yes. So first of all, I just love her. I just love her. But another reason is just because and anyone who knows me through the last 20 plus years of my life knows that my biggest struggle growing up was this kind of just trying to appease everyone. And this people pleasing that, it really can go a negative direction. And I think even with your best intentions, it can go negatively. And as you get older, it's even worse. So I think reading that, and I had kind of come to a place where I wasn't really dealing with the people pleasing as much. I really had stepped away from that. But reading her book just reinforced everything and brought it to a different perspective that I think is almost in layman's terms. So you don't have to go through years of therapy to get this information. Yeah. It's right here in this book. But the idea of just letting them be them, and that we cannot control what they're going to do, but we can control our reaction to that. And the whole concept of let them and now let me, I resonated so much with that. I've read it and I've done the Audible. I mean, I'm invested in this book. I think I love it. It hit home for me. And it's the one book that I've sent it to my 19-year-old sister, my best of friends, people that I work with. I just really recommend this book because it just brings about, I think everyone has a little bit of that in them where they're, it could be someone hurt your feelings. It could be as little as that, in your personal life. And it's just how we can deal with that. I love the book. Love it.
Yeah, Let Them was amazing. Cindy and I talked about it. We may even do an episode on it. It's just like,
Oh yeah.
it resonates so much with so many things that go on, in our current
Absolutely.
industry and what we're doing personally and professionally. So fantastic book. All right. Well, Kirsten, if you could leave our listeners with anything, any piece of advice, words of wisdom, things to think about, what would you tell our listeners and what would you leave them with?
Gosh, I think it goes back to just our way of just building up our team. Like you, and I tell this to myself, I mentioned this earlier, you are capable, you can do hard things. And that when we have these seasons, like my post mentioned, that are just so, they take over everything. It's just like emotional, mental, physical. I have always listened to my dad's version of this with "This too shall pass," because there's inevitably hard seasons. And I think just reminding yourself that this is not forever and that you're capable and that you're enough and you can do hard things. I mean, I tell myself that all the time. So I hope listeners can take that today.
I love that. That was perfect.
I love that. And you have good parents that raised you well. That was something my mom told me all the time.
Yeah.
This too shall pass. And she used to sing it.
Yes. Yes. As a kid, you're like, okay. But now I'm like, I want it written all over my walls.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Seriously.
Love it.
Yeah.
Kirsten, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us today. This has been fantastic. We so appreciate your time. And I know it was hard for us to all get together and do this because of your busy schedules and our busy schedules. But, we understand and everybody out there understands too. And we just so appreciate your time today. I mean, I really hope this resonates with a lot of our listeners and they get some inspiration from it. They know that they're not alone and they know that this too shall pass if you are going through a tough season right now.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
Bye, ladies.